With that, the gentleman from Pennsylvania, Mr. Perry, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman, and thanks, gentlemen, everybody, for being here. I just got to spend a couple moments editorializing. I feel like I have to. When we talk about some of the things that force America to do what it has to do, when we talk about rare earth minerals and the components that go into some of this machinery and the products we need to make, we need to quit calling them rare earth, because they're not rare. They are critical. But America, because of our policies, have said we can't get them, either here in our country or elsewhere. And that is hobbling us, all for the sake of, I don't know, the Endangered Species Act or climate change. Like, if we want to save the country, we had to better understand that we're causing some of the problems ourselves. And while we can complain about the Trump administration dealing with what is, we can also talk about the fact that we got a bunch of bureaucrats, particularly in State Department, that have been there through administration after administration, who pick our allies over America. And we've got to work with that, and we can't get rid of these people, even when they're not for America. And things like the foreign direct product rule, which was supposed to be our Silicon sword, it has not been effective, because we have, in the last administration, we've carved out loopholes for Japan and the Netherlands. Am I right, Mr. Wolf? We've carved them out, right? And the machinery has gone directly to Beijing, and nobody said a damn thing about it, right?
Well, the hope was that the Allies would impose their own controls.
The hope is not a course of action. That's like, we're in a fight for the future, not only of our country, but for the free world, and we're basing it on hope? Like, that's ridiculous. I'm sorry. It's just, that's absurd. Like, I'm around serious people, and this is a serious issue. So we ought to be doing serious things as opposed to hoping that they're going to align with us at some point in time, harmonize with us. We're going to either have to force this to happen, or it's not going to happen, because people seek their best economic benefit and outcome. That's what we all do. And these people want to make money, and God bless them, I understand, and there's a huge market in China, and they want to sell to it because they make a lot of money. Somebody has to care for America's sovereignty and security, and the sovereignty and security of civilization. That has to be the serious people, so we have to do something about it. Let me ask you just a couple other questions. Mr. Wolf, I like your purist attitude. You are an expert on the Export Administration regulations and ITAR. I don't know if that's given us a chance. Have you had a chance to scrutinize how the blacklist works and doesn't work in terms of those two things? And then I'm wondering if you think, and I think this goes directly to what you love, the Bureau of Industry and Security in the Department of Commerce only has two, as I understand it, two export enforcement officers for the whole of China. Is that two?
Yes, sir, correct.
Two.
6 in the world.
I don't know. That seems lacking. Am I missing? Is the portfolio pretty small?
No, which is why historically export controls have been most effective when we convince other countries that are producer nations to impose their own controls and use their enforcement authorities overseas to achieve a common security objective. And that's been the tradition. And the difficulty with the entity list rule that you just mentioned is that no other country has an entity list rule. No other country imposes sanctions against individual companies. And so when the U.S. imposes an entity list action, which is quite deserved and warranted, and I used to run the program, and I'm glad that it's active, it has very limited effect after a short period of time, because by definition, it only applies to non-sensitive, widely available commercial items, which means that all a company has to do is shift away from the U.S. origin item to the foreign origin item, then the entity list rule has no longer any effect.
Okay, so we got to find a way to solve that problem, because it's with the best of intentions, but it requires cooperation and collaboration with other countries and other companies and folks, and they just don't simply have the same impetus, motivation that we do or should have. So in that vein, should chip makers be required to export only through certified logistics providers, for instance, making exports easier to track? I know it's painful. I'm a capitalist. I don't like the regulations, but this is important stuff, and we have to be able to control it.
Well, on this issue, the diversion risk is less the topic on tools. It's to get other allies to impose their own controls or, in the meantime, not harm U.S. industry by licensing policies that are more restrictive than their foreign competitors.
And one last question.
Yeah.
Should we require ping-enabled base location verification for this stuff, so at least do we know where it is, and does that help us at all, or is that?
That creates significant security issues with respect to backdoors and access and the ability to track chips in a way or hack chips that we might not like. There are other solutions that aren't on-chip governance that might work in terms of the package for diversion risk issues, but probably not with respect to on the chip itself.
I yield.
Gentleman's time has expired. I will note that the House proposed an increase in those BIS inspectors. Indications are that the Senate is lowering that number. So we may want to try to address that as well.